Hi, folks. Chocolate Yoddah here, spelled Yoddah, because film studios are litigious. Today is Sunday, June 30th, 2024. After tonight, half the year's over, and we are 3 days out from the debate between President Joe Biden and Donnie J. Dump. I believe the J stands for Jagoff, but I will look into that. So before the debate, I was feeling pretty confident that Biden has it in the bag. That Biden is going to win the election. Right? I was confident about that. I've been watching this stuff politically for 2 years, 7 days a week, maybe a little more than that. But I've been very focused on it more than I ever have in my life. I've been watching Donnie go through his losses in court. There are far more than people think there are. He's lost many, many times, not only as a defendant, but as a plaintiff, mostly in civil trial, as we know, and the one big one in a criminal trial. After seeing everything that he's been through, after watching speech after speech after speech of complete nonsense at his Hitler rallies that he calls campaign rallies, um, you know, you get a good picture of who the candidate is. And conversely, with Joe Biden, we've watched what he's done for 3.5 years. So after the debate, now I'm certain that Biden's going to win. And really, it was the aftermath, these last 3 days of seeing the reaction and looking at the polls. What happened was very unexpected because, again, Biden had a bad showing. No question about that. It was a bad debate on his part. But what people realized, except for Donnie, is that it ain't 2015 anymore. Okay. In 2015 and 2016, he could campaign and say all the wild stuff and do all the wild things and be brash and be rude and all that. And people were like, oh, wow, what's this guy about? Well, now we know what he's about. As he squatted in the White House for 4 years, America burned. No matter what he says about the economy that he had, he's lying. He had a terrible economy. He had terrible job numbers. The only occupant of the White House to lose jobs in a 4-year period, right? So he could blame that on COVID if he wants to, but Biden inherited COVID as well. So he's doing a bang up job, and the job numbers are one metric. There are many other metrics where he's doing a phenomenal job. But why am I suddenly certain? Why, when other people are debating removing Joe Biden from the ticket, am I certain that he's going to win? Well, it's like the Who sang, "We won't get fooled again." Donnie is still running the same plays, but he doesn't realize that the game has changed. And he's not getting the results that he used to get. People are onto him. They saw a man who virtually every single thing he said during this debate was a lie, easily fact checked, easily proved to be either false, misleading, or an outright lie. That's not good when you're talking to the public for the first time. Since the mass audience, right? I mean, he's been talking to his public and his cult for a while, but now you're talking to America and you get up there and just lie and lie and lie. We had the best. They had the worst. We were great. They were terrible. It's like, hey, dude, we're all seeing this. We've all watched what has happened. We watched what happened when you squatted in the White House, and we watched what happened under Joe Biden. And yeah, Biden's old. Okay. Didn't we know that before the debate? Yeah, Biden stutters. Yeah, didn't we know that before the debate? He's an old guy that does old guy stuff. All right. But Dump is a lunatic. He's, I believe, a sociopath. I know that's a controversial diagnosis, and I'm in no place to make that diagnosis. But the fact is he exhibits all the signs that you would find in the DSM 5 that describes what the sociopath or a psychopath is. But aside from that, he's just a horrible human being with horrible intentions. And if you don't think that Project 2025 is a real thing, it's a big factor in who wins next. And in fact, I'm hoping that a Republican doesn't get in anytime soon, because there's a chance that that Republican might implement this plan. But Project 2025 is a handbook for how to take over America from the inside. All right. And if you don't think it's real, look up the Chevron. It was referred to as the Chevron Doctrine, and it would have huge implications if Project 2025 was put in place. I mean, it has huge implications already, in that now that the Supreme Court has basically dismantled it, there are lawsuits that could follow and all sorts of problems with regard to running the government. But we know Donnie wants to be a dictator. We know that he's incompetent. We know his horrifying track record. And now, even though he thought he did an amazing job in the debate, America said, sit down, Donnie, shut up. We don't need you anymore. We're not interested. We've seen all the tricks. We've heard all the nonsense. We don't want it. It's that simple. And I believe as we get closer to November, especially after Labor Day, traditionally that's when Americans really start to focus on the presidential race. I think what we're going to see is a lot of people waking up and looking at the landscape, looking at the speeches that Donnie's been making, hearing the literal Nazi propaganda that he has been quoting, and talking about suspending the Constitution and jailing journalists and all the wild authoritarian fever dream Hitler-esque things that he wants to do, and they're going to reject it. And I believe that the margin for the election is going to widen the gap that it did in 2020. Biden won by 7 million votes in 2020. I believe he's going to win by 11 million votes. And the reason for that is I think that Biden has gained traction and gained followers, voters. And I think, well, I know the stats all show that Donnie has lost support. So I think Donnie Trump has lost 2 million voters at least. And I think Biden has gained 2 million voters. So that's where that additional 4 million votes for Biden comes in November. So we'll just see if that's the case. But now I've predicted it publicly, so there's a record of it, and we'll see if I'm right or not. But I think that my faith in America has been a little bit restored, because I was concerned that not enough people were engaged in this, not enough people were seeing what Donnie was about. But I think that's changing, and I think that's a good thing, because he's, what, 154, 58, whatever the number is, over 150 historians looked at past presidents and decided unanimously, almost, that Donnie Dump was the worst president ever. And I think anyone who's been alive for a while will probably conclude the same thing. And we're including presidents that got us into the Civil War and things like that. So, there was a bar to cross for that, and Donnie made it. So good for him. He won first place in the worst contest ever. All right, so that's it for now, folks. Peace, love, and granola. Talk to you soon.